Has anyone played a prank at you, or you played a prank at anyone? Something
Yeah,
funny?
so my you don't see in the final edit, but when we're shooting the videos, it's a lot of fun, and my team is always pulling my leg because uh, I don't really spend a lot of time with the script. I do my own thing when I come in and shoot, and they make a lot of fun out of it.
Certain set of learnings or philosophies when you started out, but obviously you've transcended into being a completely different kind of person. So what are those things that you've learned? Maybe if you'd like to summarize them, in a brief gist.
Yeah, so I think this time is the best time to see what we've learned. So uh, this is not the first crisis. Entrepreneur who's starting out is not going to be a short journey. Don't look at examples which are one in thousand. Look at a general trend and stick to one thing. So I think focus and perseverance are the most two important things.
Hi everyone, Amit and Nakul from Cashify. So I'm back with the fifth episode, and it's wonderful to have Nakul with us. I'll quickly share the way I last remember Nakul, in person at a Head Start meetup in IIT Delhi, and then I saw, Nakul talking about a startup and the manufacturing units, and how he sort of pivoted and failed and bounced back. And this was even before the before Cashify was born. So I think that's what I last remember of Nakul. And today, like I see Nakul and the brand, it literally gives me goosebumps as to what would have been the journey afterwards. And even though the journey that was just before that also was quite enriching in terms of experience and everything. Over to you, Nakul. I guess if you could just tell me something about whatever happened before Cashify, where we last met, how at the Head Start event, and how you sort of pivoted into coming to this point of Cashify.
Yeah, I think I was born out of a crisis. So I passed out in 2009 from my MBA, and which was peak financial crisis, and I did not get a job. So the best option for me was start up on my own. And me and my co-founder Mandeep, we got into multiple business ideas and started out. And that's how the journey began. We initially started getting into e-waste consulting because it was a niche business idea. We thought we had read a lot, so became de facto industry experts because there were no experts around. So we claimed to be experts. And we ran a consulting firm for 2 3 years. Realized that there is not much money to be made in consulting purely, or maybe the journey is a bit longer. So we really wanted to get our hands dirty, and we got into waste recycling. So we set up a manufacturing plant in Faridabad where we were recycling scrap rubber and tire. We did pretty well. We ran it for 3 years, got a bank loan for it. We didn't understand VC at that time. So I think we stuck to something we knew, which was banks, and hence got a bank loan, did capital investment, uh, ran one of the best I know in that domain in terms of productivity and operational efficiency. And I think for me, if anybody is doing manufacturing in India, hats off to them. Is the toughest business around. Really builds character. You get to learn everything from labor management to handling different departments of government, from excise to taxation. So that I think that was the building ground where I learned my business basics. I have utmost respect for anybody who's into the manufacturing line, and especially if they're starting up.
All of this, did it happen? So I saw with your consulting experience, you were outside of India also for quite a bit. So that was all before the manufacturing and all of that, right?
No, so all my consulting experience was during my MBA. When
Okay.
I passed out, yeah, so I chose to come back.
Oh,
Or
nice.
the globe decided that there is, there's a financial crisis, and I decided to come back. You can look at it
Okay.
either way. But the
So it was
consulting experience,
2009.
yeah, yeah. So 2009 onwards, I was in India. I was working with all kind of players, trying to figure out if I can help them with their waste efficiency, including Indian Railways, Nokia, HP. So figuring out how do they produce waste and how can we optimize that, make it, mm, give it back to the society in a way that it helps.
So
So that's
entrepreneurship
my,
was always a plan, or it happened because of the crisis? I mean, how did you
so I
guys
think,
get into?
yeah, so Mandeep and me were engineering batchmates, and we always kept discussing the idea of entrepreneurship, but we never thought that we'll go in so early. So we always, the ideal game plan was 2 years of work X, figure out what to do, collect some, cash, and then start out. But the crisis forced us to do everything on the go. So yeah, uh, so crisis was a good turn for us anyway.
I think
Yeah.
that crisis right now also, I guess, I mean, obviously, I mean, a lot of people are hurt because of this crisis, but even I see a lot of upsides. So, I mean, how's it been going out at Cashify for you during the crisis?
Oh yeah. So it has been a humbling experience. We were so in April it was zero revenue, which is hard for a company who's doing about 50 crore of revenue every month. And because we are a cash flow company, hence it's tough, right? So April was zero, May was about 25% of our February numbers, and it's been a gradual uptick. And then there was also this whole China issue happening, which also curtailed the supply of new phones. So Cashify basically is very dependent on, if you buy a new phone, then you sell your old phone. You don't really go out and sell your old phone till you have an alternate phone available. So suddenly May onwards, our supply started drying up. So we had a lot of demand because new segments of market opened up, which is basically education. A lot of kids needed phones or handsets or laptops for their online education. A lot of adults needed it for work from home purpose, because they had their personal phone for personal things, and then another phone for all the office work. So there was a huge demand, but we can't keep up because we had a supply dearth. So interesting challenges, but things are coming back to normal now. So let's see.
Currently, this is office that you're in, right?
Yes, yeah. So we have been operational since May, 5th May. Uh, so warehouses are being operational across, uh, but offices are at working at 20 to 40% capacity on and off.
Hmm. Okay, let's just switch gears and go back to where we were at the starting point. So
Yeah.
basically, I mean, obviously, it's I mean, things sort of transcended as I can imagine, into Cashify. But how do you say? I mean, where did this term Recommerce, come into picture, and how did you guys, sort of blend into, obviously, I understand you were doing a sort of a manufacturing business, which sort of now synchronizes with the current state of affairs. But how did that all happen, and what was the eureka moment like?
Yeah. So when we were in manufacturing, we realized that the scale is not exponential. It was always linear. So if I was doing a 20-ton plant, 20 ton per day kind of plant, if I want to go to 100 ton, I would have to invest 20 into 5, right? And I will get 20 into 5 result. It is not going to be, hey, I'm going to invest this much and now my returns is going to be 1000x. So for to be in that kind of business, I need to be part of the internet bandwagon, and hence we decided that it's a good time to shift kind of channel, and hence we sold off our manufacturing unit and came into internet business. And because we knew waste, we knew supply chains, so for us the natural thing was to do this kind of business. When we initially started, we wanted to be the best second-hand retailer kind of scenario. But very soon into the business, we realized supply is a challenge rather than demand. So in India, because of the price point effect, everything which was of good quality, because of the price point, will sell. But there is no demand supply aggregator. or a service provider who could help an individual sell. So, for example, if you are an organization of 1,000 people and you want to sell your 1,000 laptops, there are hundreds of traders around there who plays the power who would help you dispose of. But if you are an individual and you want to sell your mobile or laptop, then you are at their mercy of being non-transparent. You don't know if your data is safe when you're selling it to them. You don't know if will go to the right hand or the wrong hand, because, for example, your device lands up with a terrorist, then it can also be deemed a security hazard and could be linked back to you. So when we started out, those were the ethos we were looking at, uh, and how do we serve the end consumer, and that's what the whole journey has been, where we are trying to help end consumers sell their old phone, and phone being the largest category for us. Then we have in 2019 decided that hey, we wanted to go deeper into phones. So while we were the best at doing trade-in and buybacks, we said why can't we help people repair their phones? Why can't we help people accessorize their phones? So whatever is required to uh, for your phone to live longer and be more fruitful for you, we want to be in that.
I think I see a lot of sort of finding meaning also apart from just doing business in what you're saying, and when you talk about ethos and those heavy words. So basically, I think, and in fact, passion used to be a word, I guess, a few years back. Right now, everybody is talking about zandagi baat, sales, business, but for you, you are in the field. As an entrepreneur, obviously, how do you see your peers and other entrepreneurs in the ecosystem? How do you see? Has it really evolved in the hindsight from passion to sales and business, Dhande ki baat, or how's it, really evolved, the overall
No, so
ecosystem, startup ecosystem?
I think I I know a terrific set of entrepreneurs across India, and I think there's one of the few smartest people I know, and what they're building and doing is great things. So you can't really generalize saying that hey, uh, you know, not everybody is just bring coming up with an idea and burning me. I've heard those things many times, and also you don't know what situation they were in when they were burning money, or uh, what were they were trying to do to make their business work. So I can't really judge anybody because of that. But
Got it.
I
So,
think
to come to that, will you name some of your or favorite entrepreneurs and maybe some role models that you had maybe when you started, some of your some people who mentored you, supported you in those times, early times, difficult times?
yeah. So there are a lot of people who have supported and mentored us who are not really known in the ecosystem, so you would not know them. But really, some of the people I really admire with their work ethos are Deep Kalra, Make My Trip. I met him twice, and the kind of clarity of thought and vision he brings to the table is tremendous. I would love to be like that for my business. Similarly, Sandeep Bikhchandani, Sanjeev Bikhchandani. Oh, what a man! If you ever interact with him and the kind of business he's built, and it's all perseverance. He started it out in 1996. So, and just hats off to people who just persevere, keep doing it and building. And they have and the unique thing is about their focus. They have such a clear focus on their short term, their long term, and what are their strengths and what do they bring to the table. That those are the things I want to imbibe in myself when I'm looking out in a business.
Fantastic, fantastic. You did not name any investors, and I would not put you in a spot to name someone specific, if at all. But yeah.
So you only interact with the real investor when they are on your board. And it's been a great journey so far to my existing, and now they're not just my board members, but they're also friends. And so we never treat them as a board member. We also always use them as a thumping board where we bounce off ideas, see what they bring, because they have a very far bird eye view than us of the industry, of the economy. So it always helps to bounce off things with them. figure out, hey, what you do they bring to the table. And we have been also lucky that most of our investors are very supportive, right? They do not tell us how to run the business. They just say, hey, we provide you financial support and you do the business. So very non-interfering. So it's been a great ride so far. I I always, when I hear ecosystem stories where companies have been driven through investors, it's very hard for me to fathom that those kind of things happen. Because yeah, the entrepreneur knows the business in and out. Investors are just looking at numbers, so it's very difficult for them to make decisions.
Fantastic. I think that's a wonderful thing, and obviously we can see that you're building it that way. So obviously, it reflects in the whole organizational, output that you can see. So coming back to, obviously, the way you carry your image and the brand's image in social media, it's sort of really, fun filled, a lot of musty. So how do you sort of imbibe that culture? Because culture, employer branding, those are words that, sort of a lot of people do not talk about, but somehow it reflects. If you talk to certain employees from certain brands, you can really see that there is an element, a DNA that is carrying inside the organization, which is full of fun, and a lot of free. People are free. People take initiatives. So how's it at Cashify, and how do you sort of build? How did you sort of build that?
So I think two things are very important for us when you are at Cashify. First, we give a lot of ownership. So we do not expect you to be handheld. If you are given a project, we expect full ownership, and there are teams to support you, but end result has to be delivered from you. So the independence you get at Cashify is great, which really helps people come and give their best. The other thing, and I don't know if it reflects in the video, is we really enjoy phones technology, right? So you would see at lunch people discussing different kind of phones, new features, what are people bringing, what are you buying, what are you selling. So uh, if you really don't have interest in what the company is offering as a service, then it becomes very difficult for anybody in the company to work with it. So what I see around is people talking about phones, enjoying being in technology, looking at what are the latest things, be it from a tech perspective, be it from a customer success perspective. Everywhere, you go to a retail store and you will find that our retail store employees are really knowledgeable about the phones. And you can just have a general chat with them about phones and they will be happy to engage with you. So that really comes out from the top, where everybody is happy to talk about technology and what we are working on. So I think that reflects in the culture.
That's fantastic. I think, so, talking about the fun environment, I see a lot of funny videos and, stuff like that also on YouTube and some other stuff. So you guys also has anyone played a prank at you, or you played a prank at anyone?
You don't see in the final edit, but when we're shooting the videos, it's a lot of fun, and my team is always pulling my leg because uh, I don't really spend a lot of time with the script. I do my own thing when I come in and shoot, and they make a lot of fun out of me because of that. So I do a lot of crazy shit, and also I when I look at phones, and so I usually use the phone for 2 3 days, and I will have always my opinion, which may not be equal to the common opinion. So that always cracks up my team. Yeah. So, but if you look at some of our videos, which is very fun based around phone, those are hilarious. It's always fun to shoot them, and getting humor into what we're trying to build and educate the customer is always great.
That is fantastic. And coming to which, I'd like to really discuss, or maybe, if you can be a bit more candid about, this is all, Cashify, and you as a student, coming out in 2009. But obviously, in due course of time, as a founder, as an entrepreneur who's on the ground, building a business of that scale, you evolve as a person also. And, you had certain set of learnings or philosophies when you started out but obviously you've transcended into being a completely different kind of person. So what are those, things that you've learned? Maybe if you'd like to summarize them, in a brief gist.
Yeah, so I think this time is the best time to see what we've learned. So uh, uh, this is not the first crisis we got into, right? 3 years back it was demonetization, uh, and for a business which is called Cashify and was handing out cash, we didn't have any cash to give. So you could imagine the plight of the business, and I think that was one of our darkest days at that time, where we as founder did not know how to handle such a kind of crisis, or actions were delayed on taking critical action to save the business and those kind of things. Luckily we sailed through. Now when the same thing happened during Corona, surprisingly we were very calm, and we were making sure that our teams are very calm, they don't panic. We try to figure out, and from the day one of lockdown we were preparing for it. We had a roadmap, we had permutations and combinations. So I think those kind of things, and I am sure for a new entrepreneur who was going through that crisis for the first time, it would have been much more difficult. So for us, uh, because we had already seen such kind of things, we were more calm as a organization, as a group, and we were taking care of our people, making sure that enough training and education is provided around the disease to our people, to make sure they go through it. And we were calm ourselves. We were not getting paranoid. We were not going in the negative space, right? It's very easy to get into the negative space where business is not happening for a month and those kind of things. But I think I am very proud how we handled the COVID situation, and I'm already looking at good results and things coming out in the bright side.
I mean, that makes more compassion and calm that has come to the team and to the founders in due course of time, is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and I think I'm the hats off to my team as well. They just did really well. And I actually we have such an older team. Most of our people and team has already been around here for 5 years, so they've seen ups and downs. So they were also very calm and collected. So everybody worked together. It went really well.
So you guys are two founders. So I mean, obviously there would be some split
So we are three
responsibilities.
founders.
Three founders.
So
Okay,
yeah. So it's Amit, me, and Mandeep.
got
Mandeep
it.
is the CEO, and he takes care of you know business numbers and financials and investors. I take care of sales and ops and marketing, and Amit is the tech co-founder, so he takes care of tech and product.
Got it. Got it. So obviously we don't see much of Amit at all because he's
Yeah,
taking care of the tech.
yeah, and he's media shy, camera shy, but he started authoring a lot of articles about the use of technology on Cashify and those kind of things. So a lot of interesting things coming from him as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that is wonderful. So I mean, before we sign out, just some tips from you, around sales and marketing and operations. If you would like to share some from your experience.
I think for any entrepreneur who's starting out is not going to be a short journey. Don't look at examples which are one in thousand. Look at a general trend and stick to one thing. So I think focus and perseverance are the most two important things you need to look at. If you have set out to try out an idea, don't change your idea every third month because it has not clicked yet. Everything takes time. So you need to stick with the thing and at least drive it for a year, 2 year, or you have specific feedback from customers which are saying, hey, this is wrong, this is right. If you know if those two things are taken care of, you will figure it out somehow or the other. So you will pivot, you will do things, but you have to focus and persevere.
So how's your vision of Cashify? Maybe in the next 1, 3, 5 years, if you have sort of
Yeah,
a.
so we look at Cashify as a global company. We have some we have plans of going international. We think there is a lot of space available in the market where buyback, trade-ins, own life cycle play is a gap which is available across the globe, and we can fulfill it. And there are various ways we want to do it. So yeah, you will see more of us.
Fantastic, fantastic. No, No, that's great, wonderful interaction, Nakul. I guess in a brief span of time, I guess we could cover and touch base a lot of aspects, and it's wonderful spending time with you. Anyways, listening to you and the team, and obviously I see a lot of marketing efforts happening online. Like we've touched that several times during this discussion. I love the marketing, and once upon a time, I guess you guys picked up on a brand, some brand icons, and those videos are also pretty hilarious when you take on some other brands and do a redo by Cashify. So those are all really fun stuff. So I mean, cheers, man. I mean, all the best to you and team and Cashify. And it was wonderful interacting with you, Nakul. See you around more often. Thank you everyone for watching us.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, viewers.